My circle tighter than it ever been. I ain't letting nobody in my business like that. For real. The only ones is me, myself, and God. You know who I be with. You know who I be with. Me, myself, and God. You know who I be with. You know who I be with. Me, myself, and God. You know who I be with. You know who I be with. Me, myself, and God. You know who I be with.
God bless everyone who's listening. Let's get this weekend started off right. This is the Me, Myself, and God Daily Devotional Podcast. And today we will be studying in Genesis 19. And we're going to be looking at verse 30. And from our last episode, I was continuing to study and I realized that, God was urging Lot, his wife, and his daughters to leave Sodom and Gomorrah because he was, ready to bring his punishment down on the land. So at this time, Lot lost his wife because she looked back to that life she was going to miss and she passed away. And it's just him and his daughters. And it's one thing in my continued studies that I realized is that he didn't have any sons, giving into that wickedness and giving into that chaos. He didn't have any sons to carry his name on, to carry on his lineage at that time. So that's something that stood out to me, and he had to go out here and face whatever he was going to have to face with just him and his two daughters. And this was after, you're from a covenant that says that your offspring and your tribe that comes from you, your nations are going to come from you. More than the stars, more than the grains of sand, but this wasn't happening for Lot. So I'm realizing that he was in tune when he seen godliness around him. He noticed it. But when he didn't, he wasn't making it be around him. He wasn't having it a daily part of his life because he wasn't receiving those blessings as being a part of that covenant. So that's something that I noticed right there. And then as we go on and get to this verse here, it says, afterward, Lot left Zor because he was afraid of the people there, and he went to live in a cave in the mountains with his two daughters. Okay, so what we see here is he's still trying to continue his journey, but he's not trusting in God to bring him where he's supposed to be. He's moving from place to place, and he's moving because he's scared of the people. He's afraid of the people that are there already, instead of having fear of God and trusting in God. And if you continue to read in this chapter, you'll see the chaos, the confusion, the wickedness, and the scheming that comes from him hiding out with his daughters, the way that his daughters schemed on him. And what came from that was building a nation of wickedness that would fight against the Israelites for years to come. All right, so we have to realize we don't move because of fear of people. That will only lead to shame and chaos. Only be moved by your fear of God. And when they say fear of God, they're not talking about being afraid of God. They're talking about being faithful to God, trusting in God. Okay, understanding that if you go against God, you won't be your best self. Okay, we have to understand that it's not something to be afraid of. It's something to draw energy from, is the fear of God. It's something to draw confidence from, is the fear of God, because you're moving in victory when you're in line with God. And if you're out of line with God, you're not trusting God. All right. So those are things that we need to understand as we journey on through this weekend and beyond. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.
Myself and God, you know who I be with, you know who I be with. Me, myself and God, you know who I be with, you know who I be with. Me, myself and God, you know who I be with, you know who I be with. Me, myself and God, you know who I be with, you know who I be with. No, it ain't.
This is Radio For Real. Welcome to the Good Vibes.